As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, I had to go with Tennessee because they got it right. We got some new rules in NCAA. The naming rights for your field and for your stadium. And we've seen some stuff in the past that's pretty ridiculous. They were able to pull it off to keep the Neyland Stadium name. They've partnered with Pilot and they've worked it out to where they're going to have some branding up, but they're not outright changing the name of the stadium because we've seen some ridiculous stuff in the past.
It will be Neyland Stadium. It will remain Shield Watkins Field. And Pilot is designated as the presenting partner of the Neyland Stadium renovation project, and they're the official travel stop of Tennessee Athletics.
It's no big deal. It's about what $350 million renovation project they got going on.
Neyland Stadium, home of the Vols, proudly preserved by Pilot. I can't believe I've said Pilot so many times in the last 30 seconds. I I knew this was coming. I've had many conversations about logos being put on fields in college football, logos being put on stadiums. I think this is inevitable basically for every team in the SEC and the Big Ten, maybe every team in the Power Four, because it's just
Free money.
another way for programs to make money. I mean, it seems like an easy revenue stream, and I don't see why you wouldn't do it. I mean, FIU, it's Pitbull Stadium now, man.
I know. That's what I'm
Mr.
saying.
Worldwide. Uh,
Mr.
I
International.
I don't see why this isn't going to happen everywhere, right? We've got patches on NBA jerseys, we've got patches on Major League Baseball jerseys. We've got, I mean, don't even get started. European soccer, right? You may not know the team, but you know the logo on the front of it. It feels
It's coming
inevitable,
to
Ted.
it's coming to jerseys too.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
I would
it's coming to
expect
jerseys.
I would expect a like in the NBA, a jersey patch. I,
Yeah.
that's kind of whether it's on the shoulder or the chest, I'm not sure. But if I was the company, I'd want it on the shoulder because of how games are broadcast. But it doesn't bother me at all. It may bother some college football fans, like the biggest college football purists, but like, if the Brahms logo or whoever put a giant logo on Owen Field, would that bother me at all? I don't think it would. Just as long as it's nothing stupid. Let's not make it anything stupid.
Yeah, I think
Clearly, I'll be lobbying for the Loves logo. I mean, come on.
well, yes. It's just it's I people don't like it. I understand why they don't like it, but it's something that you very quickly get used to and don't really notice. But I mean, you got patches on the Yankees jersey, the Lakers jersey. I mean, the iconic stuff, and you get used to it. I get it, man. Well, you feel like you want the plain jerseys, the plain field, the plain stadium, but it's just it's all about revenue, man. They got to grow the revenue, find new avenues to grow revenue, and real estate on the jersey, real estate on the field to throw advertising on. That's big time money, and it's just too easy. It's gonna happen, whether you like it or not.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I I will say this. Is it weird that I'll be disappointed if OU doesn't do it? At some point, I don't know. Maybe it's not till next season, but it kind of goes back to what I said about Dabo Swinney. Like, if you're not exhausting every resource to make your football team as good as possible, then what are we doing? And if a partnership with the company to put their logo on Owen Field gets the football program more money that they can spend on whatever, recruiting, NIL, transfer port, whatever, then you do it. That's just the way that I see it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it it's always been an arms race in college football. We've gone through different eras, and we went through the facilities upgrade era where, you know, everyone's locker is on a rocket ship that can shoot you all over the state or something. It's like all these things that you don't need. But it's the only way that you could really flex. And now, like, the new race is NIL. How much can you pay your players? And so the money's always going to matter. It's just where it's going has changed a little bit. So yeah, it's inevitable. I don't think it's that big of a deal as long as it's done right. Like, I think Pitbull Stadium is perfect for FIU, would not be perfect for an Ohio State or an Alabama or an Oklahoma, but you can find the right companies that fit those states, and like the branding that everyone in that area knows and is comfortable with, and it's not going to be a big deal. Matter of fact, it might be something that you're proud of.
Pitbull Stadium had people talking about FIU football more than we've ever talked about it.
Yeah.
And people are still talking about it and will continue to talk about it as Pitbull rolls out his performances and stuff for those games. He's making an anthem for them.
That's awesome.
I loved that. And I've, looking at the Pilot and Tennessee deal, I think it makes a lot of sense as well. Just one reminder, don't get your gas at Pilot. Get your gas at Love's, people. You know who owns Pilot now, Ted?
Well, is it not? Was it not Haslam? Did they sell out?
Sold out to Berkshire. Warren Buffett owns it. Warren Buffett doesn't need your money, people. Get your gas at Love's.
Yeah, he owns everything. No big deal.
Get your gas at Love's. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
Man, I had to go with Texas, and I'm not happy about this. I'm not cheering it on. I'm not rolling around in their pain at all. But they've had another running back go down, and it's getting thin really quick for them. And you kind of see this going on across the country. We've had our injury. Jaden Gibson goes down. That's a big loss for us. And that's the thing in training camp. It's almost the no news is good news, kind of like the rest of the offseason, because it's typically a big time injury. But now they've lost Christian Clark. Baxter went down, and now Christian Clark, I believe it's an Achilles. So they've gotten even thinner there. He was one of the young true freshmen that they thought was going to be able to maybe perhaps bounce in there and be able to carry the football for them. Carry some of the burden that was left by Baxter injury. So they're even more thin now. And, it's to the point where sometimes you get so thin at a position group, and it can affect the way the football team practices throughout training camp.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And all of a sudden, a lot of pressure on Jarrett Gibson, who I don't know how big of a factor he was going to be. He was, I think, the third ranked running back in his recruiting class, true freshman, extremely talented guy. I mean, there's just no denying that. But there's one thing when you just get to kind of ease a freshman into a season at the running back position versus, hey, man, you're the backup week 2 against Michigan on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot to ask even of a guy as talented as Gibson. So you look at Texas's situation. I think one of the reasons people were so high on Texas is the offense, right? You got Ewers back. You got a solid group of O linemen back, led by Kelvin Banks. They filled holes in the wide receiver core through the portal, but you can't run the football, man, I don't. They have 3 scholarship running backs on the roster right now.
It's going to be tough, especially that game when they're going on the road to Michigan. I don't know what to expect from Michigan on offense, but defensively, they're going to be good. That front seven for them is going to be outstanding. Really good across the defensive line, good at backer, and it could be difficult to run the football. And Quinn Ewers, if you're sitting in third and long a bunch against that Michigan defense, not what you want.
I will be beyond impressed if Texas can move Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham off the football and run it efficiently in that game.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the best defensive tackle duo in all of college football. Both of those guys are physical freaks.
Mm-hmm.
So you're down your starter, and I'm not sure if Christian Clark was going to be in the mix, but dude, I feel so bad for him because he's a highly recruited guy, and Achilles just, you think about how far that sets you back in your development as a player.
It's such a rare injury for college players. I mean, that's usually
Yeah,
an older player thing in basketball and in football. So I hate that for him.
me
But
too.
I say that only to say, like, maybe as a younger player, it's maybe going to be easier to bounce back from.
Down to 3 scholarship running backs, down the starter.
Hmm.
A lot of pressure on Quinn Ewers to deliver.
Yep.
We'll see. Let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first,
Insurica launched a new digital agency introducing Insurica Direct. Whether you're in Oklahoma or anywhere across the U.S., they've got you covered, from small business insurance and health insurance for your employees to insurance for individuals like home, auto, and even Medicare supplements. Insurica Direct's got it all. Start your journey today at insuricadirect.com. Remember, at Insurica, we specialize in you.
and head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com and use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
And celebrate with the Schooner All-American Ale, the official craft beer of OU Athletics from Coop Ale Works. Named after the iconic Sooner schooner that races across Owen Field after an OU score, you could join in on the celebration with an ice-cold beer from Coop Ale Works. You can enjoy it at the Palace on the Prairie, at OU Athletic events, at the bar, at the tailgate, and in the comfort of your own home. For more information on Schooner All-American Ale, visit schoonerale.com. Must be 21 to purchase. Please drink responsibly. Schooner All-American Ale, the taste of game day.
For my winner of the week, thought about going with the NCAA. Ted, the NCAA needs any little win they can get. And Jim Harbaugh called Sharon Moore and has backed out of being the honorary captain for Michigan's opener. Said he wants to focus on the Chargers, going to focus on the NFL team that he's coaching.
Loser.
Now, he is sending his mom and dad to stand in his place, which is fantastic. But this does Harbaugh not showing up and being this giant middle finger to the NCAA, it does feel in a weird way like a small win for the NCAA, which at this point they can take any small win they can get.
They're going to throw him up on the Jumbotron and he's going to throw double birds to the NCAA in a little video message, or just cut
I'm not
down to,
ruling
is it
anything
Jack?
out.
Is that his dad, Jack Harbaugh?
Yeah,
Just cut down to Jack and let Jack be the spokesman.
we'll see. But hey, congrats, NCAA. I guess that's good for you. But my winner of the week, Jerry Jones. We've been giving Jerry Jones a hard time on here for the CD Lamb contract situation. And let me make myself clear. Jerry, pay the man his money. He's one of the best in the league. Pay the man his money. Stop it. But Jerry Jones may have had the best week of anyone in the United States. Did you see the Sportico list of valuations of the NFL teams?
Yes, I did.
For those of you that didn't, the Dallas Cowboys checking in at $10.32 billion dollars. The first ever sports franchise with a valuation over $10 billion dollars. And they are so far ahead of second place, which is the Rams at 7.79. The Cowboys, $10.32 billion valuation. The Rams at 7.79. The Giants at 7.65. The Pats at 7.31. And the 49ers at 6.68. Good for you, Jerry Jones. I mean, as far as I can tell, this is the Cowboys are their business, and business is good for the Joneses.
It is. Uh, I always talk about this. People get lost in the business aspect of it from time to time. The point of owning an NFL franchise is not to win Super Bowls. It is to make money. Okay. Now, one of the best ways to make money is by winning Super Bowls and having your team relevant and having your brand constant, like going to the Super Bowl and making it through the playoffs. Like that brand recognition that you get from that is you can't put a price tag on it. But Jerry Jones has perfected. It's almost, you get talked about more by just not quite being good enough than if you are good enough. Because, like, if you're looking at this overseas, you would say, oh my gosh, the Dallas Cowboys must have won 3 out of the last 5 Super Bowls to be that worth that much money. Nope.
It's been the 90s, man. I mean, it's been a really, really long time.
95, is that right?
96.
Long time.
I bring this up.
It was back when starter jackets were still cool.
Well, starter jackets are still cool, Ted. I mean,
are they?
Come on. Yeah. Oh yeah. I think if you poll the kids, starter jackets are still they're vintage now, man. They're hot. People can't.
I was about to say, like, can you still get? Is it still a thing to even be able to pick those up?
I think some people are kind of emulating the look, and it may be starter. Like, but it's back, dude. It is like that type of jacket, that look.
Along with like, did you have one?
I had a North Carolina starter jacket, which I wore in you know the youth track meets when the baseball throw is an event.
Yeah.
I was the reigning baseball throw champion. I thought it was going to be really cool to wear my starter jacket to throw in the baseball throw, and I lost by a couple feet because I had a giant puffy starter jacket on, and I was heartbroken.
I had a Notre Dame, and then I had a green, like a green and black Green Bay Packers, which you may make like jump to some conclusion about my fandom. No, I got whatever was on sale was the jackets I was able to get. So, but I loved them.
We had this weird thing in my household. It was college basketball. And it was when like Antoine Jameson and then it was Vince Carter. Like I was in North Carolina. I was a diehard OU football fan, but it wasn't, for whatever reason, it wasn't that way in basketball. And my oldest brother was a Duke fan. And my middle brother was a Georgetown fan, and I was a North. We had this like weird Big East ACC now thing going on. I don't know. It was strange. In hindsight, it makes no sense. I don't know how our parents allowed that to happen. It's bad parenting.
It's pretty good.
$10.32 billion for the Cowboys. Jerry,
just cashing in, baby.
Your team is worth $10 billion. Pay CeeDee Lamb his money.
Pay the man.
Hell, pay Dak Prescott what he wants to. Your team is worth $10 billion, Jerry. You'll be fine.
No excuses.
My loser of the week, JJ McCarthy. And maybe it should be Minnesota Vikings fans, but I watched a lot of that preseason game. McCarthy looked good
That's what
against the Raiders. Had a couple of really nice long touchdown passes, looked sharp, making quick decisions. It was, it was a really encouraging performance for him. And it turns out he tore his meniscus in the game.
Hmm.
And he's going to have surgery. Unclear if he'll be out, half the season, the entire season. It doesn't sound like they really know until they open him up and see what's going on with that meniscus. But Sam Darnold was most likely going to be the starter. But Ted, it did seem like one of those situations where maybe you got to a point in the season, you reevaluated things depending on how things were going from a win-loss perspective, and then McCarthy kind of takes the reins. Right? That feels like a very, very reasonable formula for them when you draft a guy with the 10th pick overall. But now it doesn't seem like that's an option. If this is as significant as it sounds, and we'll see if he makes it back at all. But now, if you're a Vikings fan, hey, you're rolling with Sam Darnold. Good luck.
Yeah.
I think Nick Mullins is their backup, and Jaron Hall, BYU's finest. It's not a great QB situation there in Minnesota. I don't know if McCarthy was going to play a ton. I have no idea, but for a fan base, this feels deflating.
Yeah, he was looking pretty good from the stuff I had saw, read a little bit on it, and because there's actually a bunch of quarterback battles in the NFL this year. There's a bunch of like some teams that are unsure who the starter's going to be. So that was one of them, and it's a setback. But I don't know, meniscus probably, unless there's something else going on there, pretty strong chance that he'll be back at some point this season. And I don't know. Darnold's not a bad option, but it's probably one of those things where it's like, can't we do better than Kirk Cousins? Can't we? Not as easy as you think.
Not as easy as you think. And one reason I just feel bad for Vikings fans? They are being robbed of when Sam Darnold is sucking. They don't get to yell to put McCarthy in.
Yeah.
Which, when your quarterback is not playing well and you've got this bright, shiny new toy on the bench, that's like one of the most fun things as a fan base is to say, hey, put JJ in. Darnold, you suck. They don't even get
Put
to
the
do
num-
that. He's
put
not
the
even
number
available.
yeah, put the first rounder in. It just put Jaron Hall in doesn't have the same, like, you're probably not going to be able to get as many people behind that one. That's one of the best things as a fan is being able to really pull for the backup quarterback. Always the most popular guy on the team.
One last thing on the McCarthy situation. He posted on X, love you, Viking Nation. I'll be back in no time. Amor Fati. F
Hmm.
A T I. I saw this tweet. It was on my timeline. And I go, oh, the knee injury must be bad. And then I go, what the hell does Amor Fati mean?
Hmm.
And that led me down a rabbit hole, Ted. Latin phrase, love of fate. This is according to Wikipedia, the most reliable source on the interweb. Describes an attitude in which one sees everything that happens in one's life, including suffering and loss, as good or at least necessary.
Huh.
That's deep stuff, man. I know JJ McCarthy, he's into all the meditation and all that stuff. This guy's got layers, man. That's some deep stuff.
Hmm.
How you feel about that? Guys out here, I think it's a lot of people attribute it to like Nietzsche.
Yeah.
How do you feel about JJ McCarthy out here referencing Nietzsche?
Time is a flat circle. Yeah. Um, I don't know.
Is JJ McCarthy too deep to be a successful NFL quarterback? My column.
I'm just wondering, are his wires crossed a little bit? What's the point in the meditation if you're already locked into fate.
Mm. If you are you saying if you think everything's already decided for you, what's the point of trying to focus?
What mindset are you trying to change to?
Interesting.
Or maybe that's your meditation is just the acceptance of fate. I don't know. Huh. Something to think about.
Birthday shout outs. I wanted there to be a long, awkward pause there where people go, wait, did it cut out?
What
Did it,
was what was that?
is it off? What happened?